When I was 11 years old, I enrolled in a 4-H project called Ohio Birds. For project research, I attended a bird banding program at Springville Marsh State Nature Preserve in Cary, Ohio. And my life was forever changed when I was introduced to the wonderful world of birding. So what exactly is birding? Is it the same thing as bird watching? Well, technically yes, they're exactly the same thing. But it's a lot like comparing a little league sports to high school sports. They're doing the same thing, but the intensity and the focus are on a completely different level. Bird watching can be described as any instance of watching a bird or birds in their natural habitat. A bird watcher is considered more passive and may just enjoy the moment of being outdoors enjoying nature. They may or may not be curious about the identification of the bird or whether or not they've seen the species before. Birding, on the other hand, takes a more active approach to watching birds. It typically involves waking at extreme hours in the morning and being in the field before daylight. Bird species and numbers of birds are then counted and listed using auditory and visual clues. People sometimes keep these lists for certain areas such as counties or cities or even states, but the most common list is basically a master list of all the birds that they've ever seen or heard, typically referred to as a life list. Birders are viewed as individuals who watch birds in a more competitive capacity, with a specialized focus on keeping lists of the birds seen in what is referred to as birding. This list or score is similar to the manner that many people have a golf handicap. And while they enjoy the competitive aspect of competing against others and keeping score, a day golfing is still considered a day well spent. Most birding is done using a pair of binoculars and/or a telescope or scope to help identify faraway birds. They usually match these tools with a bird field guide that uses visual clues and pictures to identify the exact species of bird. Birders typically study bird calls or visual field markings to help them identify bird species in the field. So while birding and bird watching may be different in terms of how extreme in nature the hobby is taken, both definitions describe individuals that enjoy being outdoors and appreciate the challenge of watching birds. Personally, I think birding and bird watching is an extremely underrated hobby that most people portray as an activity for only older individuals. The truth, however, is the hobby of birding can be done by anyone, anywhere. Many hobbies can get ridiculously expensive, and birding is no different. However, the entry level to start only requires your eyes and your ears. This makes it one of the most accessible and easiest hobbies to enjoy. What's more, there are over 10,000 species of birds in the world, and they can be found on every continent. So no matter where you live, you can be a part of this group called birders. So what's the point of watching birds, and what are the benefits? Birding is very similar to a treasure hunt, except the treasure is constantly flying back and forth or being hidden by foliage. Birding gives a sense of accomplishment by finding, identifying, and listing different bird species within a specific time frame. Seeing a new bird species is like a constantly revolving personal best record that you're always looking to improve. Learning to identify different types of birds with visual field marks and characteristics, as well as different bird calls, promotes healthy cognitive behavior. There have been several health studies that show the benefits of watching birds and how it can have a positive effect on your mental health. Birding also promotes health and wellness by encouraging us to get outside and be active. So if you're feeling a little adventurous and you don't have any plans, get outside and get birding.